coolest, most politically incorrect black man on the planet, Rod Eccles.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom133.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom133.com. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom133.com.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000 or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company, General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the Tax Doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the Tax Doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Your lovable host, Rod, coming to you, live? Yes, right, live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great grand state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is, live free or die. It is not big government or bust. The call-in number this morning is the same call-in number as it was yesterday morning, 603-835-3224, 603-835-3224. It is a rather cold and blustery morning here in one of the coldest mornings of the year. Trick some people. What do you mean? Is it coldest? Really? Because they think it's months and months old when you say it's the coldest day of the year, and everybody kind of relates back to like September or October. But no, this year is only 19 days old. We are January 19th, Tuesday, in the year of our Lord, 2016. Past the halfway mark in the first month of the year. And things are starting to, even though it's, I think, around 10 or 12 degrees outside, with a wind, giving a wind chill factor of close to zero, I think things are really about to start to heat up here in New Hampshire, politically speaking, of course. I was perusing Twitter this morning. A lot of stuff here, though. The paper pile is just full. It's tall today. Going to try to get through at least half of it, which is probably an impossibility because it's just so much stuff out there. But this morning I was perusing Twitter, my Twitter account. You should probably follow me on Twitter if you're not. Pretty simple. I'm easy to find on any social account that I have. Just look for Rod Eccles. I don't have any cutesy names or change from social network, the social, because some people on Facebook, they might be fancy pants, and on Twitter they're wonderful John, and then on LinkedIn is their real name because it's professional, and then over on Pinterest they're the pin god or something like that. Why unless you don't want people to cross channel you, why would you do that? Why would you make it difficult for people who might like what you have to say and might, just want to follow you in more than one place? They might want to be on Facebook and Pinterest. They're two different mediums, but if you use different names for each social media, so what is it? Online SN? Call it. No. Why use different ones? The nickname, I guess, below the real name, because on Twitter you could probably find me also as Elrod, but go to any of the social media and just look for Rod Eccles, and you'll get me. You'll find. I even think on Instagram too. Yes, I have an Instagram account, but that's strictly for my photography hobby. I think you can find me either at Rod Eccles or Lightning Rod. Still the same thing. Easy to find. I just don't understand why people have to, try to be cutesy. Be yourself. One of the things that is starting to come to light, that is starting to worry people, is this idea of virtual reality. Because people are starting to get, they're spending a lot of time online trying to create a persona that is nothing like the real them. They get locked in this fantasy. I love how some people think that they are just so smart, too. They're so cool and smart. But yet, they're 5 feet 10 inches tall, weigh 350 pounds, and they sit and eat potato chips all day long while looking at the screen, and their eyes have become so adjusted to looking at something that's less than 12 inches close to their face that they can't see anything past that screen. Need corrective lenses. I mean, that's just not healthy. Get a real life if this is what if you know somebody who's doing this. Obviously, if you're listening to this program, you have a real life. Because people who listen to this program or to Kennedy or Levin or Savage or any of those guys, they have a life. You guys get out there and you live your life. Sure, you take a few hours every day. You're probably working. Or you're probably traveling in your car. That's why you're listening to programs like this. But you're out. You're living isn't that amazing? Conservatives tend to live a real life. Did you know that? Conservatives are too busy actually living a real life to be entrapped by all of this virtual reality. Now, a lot of time. Now think about this, folks. Think about this for a second. Now, this is not even the opening topic I wanted to go down, but think about this for a second. You have all of these wonderful people out there. All people are wonderful. Don't get me wrong. I mean, some are kind of crazy, but they're wonderfully crazy, even though they might, kill people. But you have all of these nut jobs. All of these well, the vast majority of the nut jobs out there. We always seem to find out that they have some sort of fantasy. Now, I'm not talking about the Muslim terrorists. They have their own religious fantasy. That's something totally different. But when we're looking at a lot of these mass shooters and mass murderers and serial killers, who, by the way, 95% of all serial killers are white in the USA. Just, it's just one of those statistics. It doesn't mean that black people aren't crazy. I mean that Latino people can't be crazy. I don't know what and I don't study serial killers. But you have all of these people who do all these horrific, mass killings or multiple killings. In almost every instance, you'll find that they have there is a connection to left-leaning politics. I'm not making this up. I wish I was. Because they find themselves living in a fantasy world. Now, maybe they do have some mental illness that puts them there. That's a possibility in some cases, but it doesn't explain them all. Now, sure, we have some people on the right who've also done some dastardly deeds. You know, Tim McVeigh, the Oklahoma City bombing, that was awful. They were obviously connected to the right. They were. But you have, and even when you have the left who try to portray all of these people as being righties, they're obviously and proven lefty. Like the Gabby Giffords shooter, a known lefty. But yet we heard from the lamestream media that this guy was, he listened to Rush Limbaugh. He never listened to Rush Limbaugh. He never paid attention to Governor Palin. All of these people are coming from the left. Now, if you take everyday, quote unquote, normal people who think that they're so smart, who sit in front of their computer screen, even for work, and then after work, that's all they do is play video games and what have you, and they're sitting there weighing 350 pounds, and they can't see past their screen 12 inches in front of their face, and you'll find them. Just go to Walmart and go to the grocery store. You'll see them. You'll know exactly who I'm talking about. And they think that they are so cool and so smart when they're very nerdy. They're very, they have no social skills, and yet they will think that they can do all kinds of things on the computer. And they believe that they like to think of themselves as these wonderful heroes that are running around saving people and killing bad guys and zombies and all this kind of stuff. Yet they're sitting there at 5'10", 5'9", 5 feet 10 inches tall, 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing over 300 pounds, and they can barely touch their own toes. And these are the people that think that everybody else should also be giving them something. Why? Because they're too damn lazy and too wrapped up in their own little world, their computer and virtual world, to actually improve their skills and then go market them to get a better paying job. They're the ones that are sitting around over at places like, I'm going to say it, they're sitting at Walmart. They're working in the gas station, convenience store, 24/7. There's nothing wrong with it. They have a job. But they're complaining that all they're doing is making $12 an hour. And that somebody else should be paying for some part of their life. While they're sitting at home on their duff on their days off, not doing anything, but pretending to live life instead of actually getting out there and living it. People on the right tend to actually get out there and live life. Sure, we have our hobbies. Sure, we like to spend some time on the computer, on social media, social networking, and all that kind of thing. I can tell you this, though. You were to ask, they don't like to release this type of data, but if you were to ask Facebook or Twitter and the others try to split, because they know how much the average person spends on their site every day. They know down to the second, kind of like down to the penny. They know down to the second. And they also have all that information about your political leanings, what you like, dislike, all that. They have so much information on you. That's how they're able to sell advertising. They know you better than you. But what they don't like to admit is that those who are more right-leaning spend less time than those who. If you notice a lot of the ads that are pointed toward, what are they? Pay attention to the ads that come your way. Just pay attention to them from now on. You don't got to buy anything, or just start paying attention to the ads. You're going to start seeing a pattern. Simply because Facebook and Twitter and all those other networks, they know who you are by your surfing activities. Now, you're probably going to see certain ads repeat themselves over and over and over and over again. And there, again, nothing wrong with that. It's just called target marketing. But understand, you're being targeted in a way because you're not spending as much time as somebody else is online. Now, I want you to try to pay attention to a liberal friends page. Ask them about what type of ads that they're getting, how often they're getting, because the less time that you're spending on social, if you've been on there for a long time, like say you've had your account on Facebook for 5 years, but every time you go onto Facebook, you're only on there for 5 minutes, you're more likely than not to see, on average, more ads than the person who's on there for an hour. Just saying. Pay attention to that stuff. Because it tells you what the social media thinks of you. And if you're out there living instead of being in a fantasy world, if you're living real life, you're probably going to get bombarded slightly more with certain targeted, repetitive ads. That person who's sitting in front of their computer, weighing 350 pounds, is not going to be bombarded quite as often because he's always online. Doesn't have a life. You've got a life. Those who are right-leaning, those who are Christian or Jewish in faith, well, any real faith tends to spend less time online and on social media than those who do not have a faith and have a left-leaning political slant. Isn't it nice to know that, even though you're listening to this program, you got it going on. You got a real life. That's another reason why maybe, just a theory here. Think about this. You spend less time online. So what happens? Facebook doesn't get to make as much money off you. Maybe that's why they don't like us as much. I'm just saying, think about that for a second. Just think about it. It's plausible. They don't make as much money off of you, so why should they cater to you? Right? They're going to cater to the person who makes them a ton of money because they're always on. Now, I know I tend to skew things because, whenever I'm on the air, now it's 3 hours a day, plus, I have to business and industry. I'm, social management, so I'm online a lot. That's for my work, though. But when I step away from the desk, I step away from my desk. And when it's the weekend, I'm rarely on my computer. I may check in on my phone every once in a while or my iPad, but I don't spend hours and hours and hours and hours for recreation. I have other things I'd rather be doing for recreation. I can recreate. That doesn't sound right. When I recreate, I don't recreate living in a fantasy world on the computer. Now, this is how some of our politics are born, too. Because if you actually pay attention to this, then you'll start to understand how it is that Democrats and Obama were able to utilize social media so early on. Because basically, conservatives and Republicans back in 2007, 2008, 2009 were not spending a lot of time on social media. A lot of their free time was not spent on Facebook, MySpace, and other social media of the day. I know you probably haven't heard that word in a while, MySpace. It's still around, by the way. I still get an email from them every once. See, this is the problem. This is why I tell you. Now, this is just a side note of it. You got to be careful what you post online. You got to be careful because it doesn't go away. And you got to be careful when you're trying to. Let me just put it this way: if you're pretending to be somebody else out there, you need to stop. It's not funny. It's not cute. You're not being, flattering to the person that you're trying to be or pretending to be or imitating. it can be harmful and dangerous. And the stuff doesn't go away once it's on the internet. For example, yes, like just about everybody else, like hundreds of millions of people, I once had a MySpace account. Well, I deleted that MySpace account. Well, every once in a while, MySpace sends me an email. And I go over there. I'm like, why are they sending me? I go, and there's my account again. And I'm like, I've deleted this account. It doesn't go away. Just as a side note, so maybe you should pay attention. I know a lot of people don't pay attention to their email stuff. Sometimes they'll throw a lot of stuff over into the trash, spam folder. You need to start paying attention to that stuff. I'm telling you right now. Do not know what's coming back to haunt you. Stuff you think that you have deleted on some network or site or what have you can come back. Are there laws against that? I don't think that there are, which is why it's happening. See, I know MySpace's hope is that they're going to bring back the glory days by getting people to come back and start utilizing the service. What easier way to utilize a service is to revive the old accounts, I guess, right? No. Makes me want to. I can't block them because I need to know every time they restore this account. And the funny thing, it can't be somebody who's imitating me, because I go in there and I change the password every single time I get a new notice that this person or that person said hi, or is it like. And I've even contacted the MySpace support, said, look, I've tried to delete this account. It's deleted permanently. Get rid of it. Erase it. Hey, a few months later, I get an email. I'm just resigned probably for as long as MySpace is active. I'm probably every 3 months or so, I'm going to get an email. I'm going to have to go back over to MySpace, change the password, and then delete the account again. I don't have time to be on every single social medium out there. I have a life. And I have a life probably because I'm a conservative. I got other things to be doing. Got other things that you should be doing. I don't know. Why would you rather sit in front of nothing like your persona? And the allure of that. I never did, I guess. You never know. Live that way in order to fully understand them. I don't. Anyway, folks, that took a lot longer than it should have and than what I was expecting to, because, well, I wasn't even expecting to even cover it. Got a lot to cover today. Got some Oscar news. I cannot believe, well, it is Hollywood, so it should be expected about how shallow these people. And this whole Oscar flap just shows how shallow. And got a lot of people over on Twitter who are responding to something I said about oil prices, and it just proves that some people just don't understand economics 101, because all they're doing is thinking about their own pocket. And I get it. I really do. Look, I'm not going to deny it. I mean, because there's what is it? It's Michigan. Michigan is the state of Michigan is blowing up all of a sudden. And I don't mean by literally blowing up, bombs and stuff going off, but blowing up because gas prices over there. There's a gas war going on in Michigan. I don't know. I don't live in Michigan, so. Those of you who live in Michigan, maybe, by the way, you ought to know that those of you who live in Michigan, you have, the auto industry, even though there may not be a lot of auto manufacturing left in Michigan, the headquarters are still there for the big American three anyway. You were just told on the last Shark Tank episode, I forget his name now, but he's a big investor. He's a shark. He's a new shark, a once-in-a-while shark. But he just said that that last Friday that the auto industry is going to die because people don't want to own cars anymore. Just saying. I'm not saying it. He said it. But we'll cover that when we get back.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Start training for a new career in as little as 18 days. National EMS Institute's innovative boot camp program will train you for a new career. Learn to respond to emergency situations and become a certified EMT in just 18 days. National EMS Institute guarantees 100% job placement. Visit www.nationaleMSinstitute.com today to learn more about our 18-day boot camp. Or call us at 1-800-497-6732. NationalEMSinstitute.com.
When you're ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Franz Black and his music on his website, franzblack.com. F-R-A-N-Z black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
403-835-3224 is the number. If you want to join me, yours truly, Rod here on the Rod Eccles Show, as we come back and get right into it. Hope you guys like the new stuff that we're bringing out. New intro, the new bumper music, all that kind of stuff. It was a lot of fun to create. Got a lot more of it coming. Got a lot of other new stuff coming too in the new year here in 2016. We've got the gas wars going. Oh, now it's starting to flood my news feed every month. And I've been vindicated because there's a lot of talk going on Twitter right now. And this is how I originally intended to open the program, but we've got a lot of this stuff. People talking about on Twitter. Oh, this is good for the American economy that gas prices are so low. You got a gallon of gas right now. Gas Wars in Michigan is going for 46 cents a gallon. Some stations. Now, I do believe if you combine I apologize. I didn't look it up because I don't know the total in Michigan, federal and state. But I think 46 cents is the amount of the tax. Kind of low to me. Which would be kind of weird that a gas station would sell gas for less than even because you're not going to get a discount on the tax. The tax is gasoline tax is not based on the price of gasoline. It's just a flat rate. All you flat taxers out there, which I don't, tax. You fair tax people, not flat tax, but you fair tax people who want to basically have a national sales tax. That's what it really is, a consumer tax. There you go. It doesn't matter what the price of the item is. The government has just instituted a flat tax on that particular item every time you buy it in its unit. So you're telling me that it's just as good or better to tax something, let's just say roughly 50 cents when it's $1, but still tax it at 50 cents when it's $2. Now, of course, you'll get some people out there who totally get into well, it needs to be a percentage. I want people to understand fully right now, I do not believe in a national sales tax. I don't believe that it is a fair tax. I know they come across saying it's a fair tax, a consumerism tax. No, it's not. It's not fair at all. It's a bunch of BS. And it is a clouded way to tax the wealthy more. Now, how is that possible, Rod? Because we know that the wealthy spend. Look, for people who earn $50,000 or less, Walmart and Target is that's their world because that's what they can afford. Nothing wrong with that either. But people who earn $50,000 to $150,000, they may not go to Walmart or Target. Their stores might be, like Kohl's or JCPenney or something. That has a higher price point. Now, sure, you might be able to actually buy the same thing at Kohl's and at Target, and Target's probably going to be a little bit less expensive. So, simply because the person doesn't shop at Target, they should automatically pay a higher tax? No. This is how we get to this so-called fair tax, and it's based on a lot in part by sales taxes from states and from federal flat taxes or percentage taxes on certain types of goods or services. And no, it's not fair. Because even though you may only earn $20,000 a year, you still got to buy stuff. So you're gonna spend a greater proportion of your income at $20,000 a year buying stuff just to live versus the person who makes $50,000. So the person at $20,000 is actually going to end up paying a higher percentage of their income in taxes. Now, how is that fair? Think about it. If you, we can get it. No, you can't start exempting people from sales tax. Can't do that. Then that's not fair either. And then you're gonna have to start monitoring it. Well, we can give out cards. Well, there you go. Now you start getting government into identifying you and giving you a card, giving you another number. When you start, I know some people on the surface say that this fair tax is great, and when it was early on, a few years ago, I had some people that were in the industry with me, and they said, "Well, Rod, you got to think about this." And I started to really think about it. Well, it sounds kind of fair, and then I started to really think about it and dig into it, and found out that the fair tax is one of the least fair options out there. And frankly, some of the people who originated this knew exactly what they were doing, and they were targeting the poor. And by doing so, what that would do is it would open up other avenues for more government intervention. In other words, more government programs. The fair tax is not fair because it's going to hit the poor the hardest. Because they're going to pay tax on 100% of their income, basically. For somebody who's making $50,000, now they're going to have room to not spend and save money. They're not going to spend all $50,000 on living. So their tax rate on their income is going to be a lot less than the person making $20,000. But they get so blinded by saying, "Oh, the person who makes $150,000, he's going to pay a hefty tax if he buys that Mercedes." Well, that's just the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because Mercedes, the last time I checked, were built by the person earning $20,000 or $30,000. And if that person making $150,000 doesn't buy that Mercedes, then that, because of the tax, is too damn high. Well, that person making $20,000 or $30,000, or maybe even $50,000, building the car, loses his job. All of this is... when you start tearing these things apart, these different plans, it's still all about attacking different socioeconomic classes. It's still class warfare. We got to get away from that, folks. We have got to get away from this class warfare mentality. Most rich people are not bad, evil people. In fact, a lot of times you would be absolutely flabbergasted or surprised about who you would consider to be rich. Because a lot of rich people do not act rich to begin with. I know everybody tries to go back and give the example of Sam Walton, walking or driving around in an old beat-up Ford pickup truck. Well, there are a lot of rich people that are like Sam Walton. They may not be worth as much as he was when he was alive, but they still drive around in an old beat-up pickup or a Chevy, something like that. They don't live. What? Warren Buffett used to live in a 3-bed. I think it was like less than 3 home. It's worth billions. There are a lot of rich people that don't buy the palatial mansion. They don't live behind gated walls, and you just don't know that they're wealthy. And if you walk in their home, look, I know some rich people. I've been in their homes, and I tell you, they're just like you and me. Some of them have, slightly larger homes. I know one guy, he's got a 6,000 square foot house, and he's got an indoor pool. But you walk through his house, we have furniture stores around here called Jordan's and Bernie and Phil's, and his house is Bernie and... They're not expensive stores. They're not Ethan Allen. They're not Stickley. You walk around at his house, he's got his house filled with furniture that he bought at Jordan's and Bernie and Phil's. The same kind of stuff that you and I would go and buy. Unless, of course, you're rich. I don't know. I find it amazing that people who aren't rich try to pretend to be rich, going out and spending all their money on high-priced items. Don't get me wrong. I love walking through an Ethan Allen furniture gallery, but that stuff is just pricey. It's beautiful, yes, and it's, for the most part, well built. I just look at, why am I going to spend $10,000 on one dining room table when I could probably go to Jordan's and buy the whole damn dining room set? Denza, table, 8 chair for $10,000. That's the way I think. I think that's the way most people think. But to the fair taxers, well, no, that person shops at Ethan Allen, man, they should pay more. Well, they forget something. Not that shallow. $10,000 Ethan Allen still built by somebody making $12, $15 an hour up in Vermont at the Ethan Allen Furniture Gallery. Furniture manufacturing facility. So whenever that yacht that millionaire or billionaire buys is not built by another billionaire or millionaire. It's built by a crew of hardworking blue-collar people, some better paid than others. Middle-class folks. They're built. Those yachts sitting out there out there in the water are being built and maintained by middle-class folks. And if you start hammering on the rich where they can't afford to buy that yacht or keep that yacht anymore, all those people who depend on that rich person buying the yacht are going to lose their job. You don't hear that when people who are foisting this class warfare stuff, do you? Rich got to pay their fair share. Rich don't create jobs. Really? They create and maintain a job every time they buy that expensive yacht. They create and maintain a job every time they buy that expensive luxury vehicle. They create and maintain jobs every time they decide they want to build a new mansion. Think the carpenters and plumbers and electricians that build those houses? You may think that they earn $20 or $30 an hour. They may be highly paid for the amount of work that they do, but they're still average, everyday, blue-collar people. Most carpenters and electricians and plumbers are not earning 6 figures a year. Rich person can't build their house, can't build a new office building anymore. Guess who loses a job? All the people in construction that would have worked on those buildings. Same thing with the gas wars. A gallon of gas in Michigan is at 46 cents a gallon. It's it's not going to stay there. But there, I've seen the gas wars before. But fuel prices, and this is a CNBC fuel price to hit rock bottom, less than 50 cents a gallon. The drastic price cuts are part of a gas price war at 3 Houghton Lake, Michigan stations. During the last 3 days, the prices dropped below $1 a gallon and falling as low as 46 cents at Sunrise, the Marathon station, Sunrise Marathon. Meanwhile, the Beacon and Bridge gas station, low as 47 cents a gallon. Nearby Citgo says its prices slumped to 95 cents a gallon. Yeah, there have been long lines at the stations. I'm sure there are. People are probably bringing their gas cans and everything else. Snap up such cheap. But it can't last, won't last, and it's not all that good. And here is why. I have been vindicated once again for all you wonderful people who are trying to chastise me over on Twitter for not liking such low price gasoline because it's good for the economy. No, it's not good for the economy if there is a balance level. Sure, I like going to the gas stations around here and seeing, $1.80 a gallon. That's good for my wallet. Or so I think at first. There is a point when too low is too good to be true. I always say that, free's too expensive. I can't afford free. Well, that's the same with something being too cheap. If it's too cheap, I can't afford it. And why? Because there's a back end to that. Just like with this so-called war on the rich, that they don't create jobs. When they're out there buying stuff that regular everyday people like you and me have to make or maintain. So yeah, they do create jobs. But if you price something too low that the people who are invested in this cannot make their money back, people are going to lose jobs. Look, business is not charity. The businesses don't have the power to tax. They can't be in business forever unless they're making a profit. They can't keep losing money. They're going to run out of money. Then what happens? You can say, well, they can get a loan. Well, then if banks loan money to all these companies that are losing money, that means those companies cannot pay the banks back. The banks lose money. I know a lot of people are out there, especially on the left, saying, yeah, banks, man, banks bad. Banks go out of business. All those bankers, the teller and everything in the front line, they all lose their jobs too. You can hate on an industry all you want to, but that just shows your ignorance and stupidity because you don't understand simple economics 101. Bernie Sanders is out there saying, I'm going to break up the big banks. Why? Because you don't like them? So you want to throw people out of work. That's what you're telling us, Bernie. If you get down and look at his plan, he's telling you that he does not like rich people, and he thinks that all bankers are rich, and bankers should be punished by the government. He's trying to foist class warfare, and Americans are too damn shallow and stupid to realize that they're being taken. I see it with the gas prices. Yeah, and they're going out and trying to tout some left-wing publication that shows that, hey, $1 a gallon of gas is good for the American economy. It's terrible for the American economy. And here is a British story that is telling Americans why it's bad for you. And I told you this when this war on the price of oil started. Go back to listen to the show. I told you it's not a good thing. Because OPEC is at the head of this. They did not and do not like the American and Canadian shale oil industry. They do not like the fact that the USA, Mexico, and Canada can produce more oil than their OPEC cartel. They're losing money. They're not making as much as they used to make off of us. We're not buying our oil from them. Canada's not buying their oil from them. We don't need it. This whole notion that we can't drill our way to success or drill our way to independence, we already did it. Even as the Democrats kept saying, we cannot drill. And Palin was out there saying, drill, baby, drill. She had it right. And OPEC knew that was right. Because now they have flooded the market continuously with oil, forcing the price of oil down. And all you see in American newspapers is that the Chinese economy is in trouble, which is causing the collapse of oil prices. No, that's bullshit. The collapse of oil prices is strictly due to a glut in the oil market. And there's a glut for only two reasons. One, ISIS is controlling oil fields, and they're not shutting down because they want the money to help fund their war efforts. And OPEC, too, is saying, well, they've had a chance a number of times to cut back on production, but they didn't, and they didn't on purpose. And here it is in the Times, Natural Resources, the times.co.uk. OPEC is out there admitting they think that they've won. We've defeated the shale revolution, says OPEC. That was their goal, and I told you from the beginning that was their goal. And we've got hundreds, if not thousands, of Americans who are being paid $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to extract oil, blue-collar workers who are losing their jobs. Yet you want to run around as a lefty and say, yay, I paid $1 a gallon of gas. That's good for everybody. No, it's not good for everybody. And the more insidious reason is that you've got a cartel out there that wants a stranglehold on the U.S. and the world oil market. So they can go back and charge whatever the hell they want. Remember the last time gas got to be $4 and $5 a gallon? Yeah, we weren't producing much in the USA back then. You think that you've made up all that you spent back? You haven't made it up. It's going to take you a long time to make back that money that you paid out. When for months, years, gas was over the $3.50 mark. And you think now that you've hit the jackpot because for a couple of days or a few weeks maybe, you're going to be paying $1 or $1.20 or 95 cents a gallon in gas. That's how stupid the American people have become. I'm sorry. I just, it may be harsh, say that, but you've got to understand that that is the absolute truth. And the sad part is that the Democratic leadership knows exactly how all this works. Some of them really are airheaded and stupid. Yeah, absolutely. Nancy Pelosi, I fully believe, is just a total Valley Girl airhead. But you've got others who are not so stupid. They're pretty world savvy. They're not in it for you. They make it sound like they're in it for you and me, but they're not. Bernie Sanders makes it sound like he's in it for the little guy on the surface. But he knows that none of his plans actually work because they have not worked anywhere on this planet. They haven't worked. But he's in it for the control. He's in it because he has this personal hatred for success. I don't know why. He has a personal disdain for those who are successful. Look, a big bank just isn't born as a big bank. They have to grow. They have to be in business, provide a product or service that a bunch of people willingly want, because nobody can force somebody to use Bank America. I don't like Bank America, so I don't bank there. But there are millions of people that obviously like Bank America, so they bank there. They don't have to bank at Bank America. They don't have to bank at Citibank. No, they can go to their local credit union or small town savings bank, but they don't. They choose to go to they choose to go to the banks that they go to. Well, Bernie Sanders doesn't seem to like that millions of Americans have made the choice to bank at these big banks. I don't understand the hatred for this. They make these false enemies. Big banks do not have a monopoly in this country. Well, they can control this and they don't have to. They only control the stuff that you say that they may control, which they really don't. But they only control the stuff that you say that they control simply because they have millions of customers paying them to have that control. If you have one of the big bank accounts, I don't want to hear you start. I want to see a study that shows how many of Bernie Sanders supporters bank at get big commercial banks. Because if they really believe the rhetoric that Bernie Sanders is spewing, all of them would either be at their local savings bank or credit union. All of them. Because they all have that choice. And I don't believe you just know that they're it's kind of. I got the story about Apple here too. Trump may be stepping in at this time because he's taking on Apple. You don't take on, well, you know, you don't take on Apple, man. No. The one thing that may bring down Trump is him taking on Apple. He could say, well, he could probably say that he believes that gas should be $3 a gallon and try to work for that, and that probably wouldn't bring him down. But taking on Apple, yeah, that might bring down the Trumpster. Just saying. We'll be back.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom133.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom133.com. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom133.com.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000 or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company, General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Out there in this land of freedom, home of the brave. It is I, your lovable host, still coming to you live for hour number 2 from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust. And yes, I checked again this morning, so I know for a fact it's still live free or die. Yes, it is Tuesday, January the 19th in the year of our Lord 2016, as we get into hour number 2 of the fastest 3 hours here on Internet Talk Radio. I got to stop saying that. Because at some point, because it looks like it may be happening. I can't really say with whom or exactly when, but it looks like so far, if things keep going and progressing the way they're progressing, I won't be broadcasting from my bunkerized home studio. At some point, probably before the, praying about it and making sure that it goes the right way. But if things keep progressing that they are progressing right now, by the end of the second quarter of this year, I'll be broadcasting from a real broadcast center. I'll still have the bunkerized home broadcasting studio, but I'll be broadcasting from a real live commercial studio if things keep progressing the way they're progressing. So I won't be able to say that I'm broadcasting live, and I won't be able to say truthfully that fastest 3 hours on internet talk radio. Well, I guess I probably could say that. It'll still be on the internet. But, I actually, right now, I guess it's not, I'm not just 100% on the internet either. There's some terrestrial signal. So, I guess technically it's still this, I could still say that part, but I would not be able to say, I could truthfully still say fastest 3 hours on internet talk radio, but I wouldn't be able to say broadcasting live from my bunkerized home studio. Working on it. Frankly, it's all due to the growth in the number of listeners, you people out there, for tuning in, listening, for starting to call in a lot more. That's also a good thing. And again, any of you can do that. I know some of you are listening on your at work, you've got your earphones in, listening at work. And I'm going to suggest maybe you take the earphones off and unplug the earphones and just turn it up so your neighbors, if you work in a typical office where you got QBs, or maybe you're one of those newfangled offices, forward-thinking progressive offices where they don't have any QB walls, the sound will travel farther. If you're out there and you're listening try having a listening party every morning. See if your coworkers would do it. Now, chances are some of them are going to be liberal and probably Bernie Sanders fan nut jobs. So I'm going to offend the hell out of them. So they'll probably, object to you listening to me. In that case, then you're going to have to keep in your earphones. Or if you work in a restaurante, like a breakfast dive or and don't get me wrong, I like breakfast. I love breakfast dives. I love diners. I really like eating at cheap greasy spoons because they have some of the best food out there. Honestly, I don't care who you are. One of my favorite places to go and eat here in southern New Hampshire is a place in Manchester called Red Arrow Diner. That is my favorite diner that I have ever been to on this planet. I love it. And, when I was in Paris, we ate at this restaurant that kind of billed itself as the Indiana Diner and Grill. And the French version of India. I'm looking around thinking, and just because they're trying to say this is all, Southwestern, type of fare and American Indian decor and everything. And I'm cracking up. But you know what? It's no different here when we're saying that we're going to some restaurant, it's all French and they have all this Parisian decoration and stuff. And I can see how cheesy our stuff, because their stuff was just cheesy. I'm thinking that is not. That's like trying to get, you're out in the West Coast. I was in San Francisco. You had this we went to this place called the Manhattan Diner or something like that, and they supposedly have, New York City types of food like bagels and, like that. No, it doesn't work. But people out there, because they haven't been, they don't know any different. So all the Parisians who go into this restaurant called the Indiana, they don't know what the real American West is or real the state of Indiana. Hell, I don't even know what the real state of Indiana is like. I've never been to Indiana. But I do know what real Southwest food is. And it wasn't what the Parisians in this Paris restaurant were putting on the table in front of me. But the Parisians think that it is. No, it wasn't bad food. It was good. But the whole point is that you've got to know that you don't know. And that you're probably it's about as bad as saying, well, you're going to New York City to get Chicago-style pizza. How the hell do you know if it's really Chicago-style pizza unless you go to Chicago? And then when you go to Chicago, you find out that the stuff you were getting in New York City was a bad imitation. It may not have been bad pizza. It may have been very good. But it wasn't good real Chicago pizza. Again, I don't know what real Chicago pizza is. I've never been to Chicago to have any. But I know what real Boston baked beans are like, and I know what the imitation Boston baked beans are like. It's kind of, and this is not a throwdown or disparaging Red Lobster in any way. But if you're in New England, especially if you're close to the seacoast in New England, you don't eat at Red Lobster. You just don't. But you will get tourists who will come to New England who will go and eat at a Red Lobster. I mean, that just makes no sense. Why wouldn't you want to go to one of the local seafood restaurants that yes, they may even be on the water, and one of the owners or employees is probably out in the back with a fishing line over the back deck catching dinner as you speak, as you sit there and eat. You can't get any fresher than that. Frank, there are a few. If you go into Maine, the seacoast, there are restaurants that are like that. Literally, and they have their own lobster boat, and they have their own lobster. They go out there, every day. They're out there catching their own lobster, and they bring the lobster back, and that's what they're serving in their restaurant for. You can't get fresher than that. Unless you go out there and catch it yourself and eat it raw like Ariel or something. I don't know. I just find it amazing that it doesn't... People are people no matter where you go on the planet. And people don't know what they don't know, but they think they know it all. They really do. I mean, Parisians think that they're getting real Southwestern, Midwestern American food in a restaurant called Indiana that is very badly decorated in so-called Native American decor, which is really bad. It was bad. Food was good. Service was good. Decor was awful. It was. But they don't know any better. They don't. I guess that's part of the problem with a lot of liberals is maybe they just don't know any better. Now, that's no excuse for them running around foisting a bunch of fake stuff. Frankly, most of their heroes, like Bernie Sanders, they do know better. But that's still, go and find out for yourself. If you really want... Don't get me wrong, if you want to sit in Manhattan and eat Chicago pizza and you're fine with that, that's great. But if you want to know what real Chicago pizza tastes like, you're probably going to have to go to the Chicago area to find out for yourself or somehow get it delivered to you in order to make a comparison, because you don't know what you don't know. If you're out there on the West Coast and you want to know what a real New England lobster sandwich tastes like, well, you're going to have to go to New England or get it FedEx to you. You don't know what you don't know. But you should know that you don't know. I don't know how you can sit in San Francisco or out in the Midwest and say that you know what a real lobster sandwich tastes like if you've never been to New England. That's like saying that you know what real Louisiana gumbo tastes like and you've never been to Louisiana. And you don't know anybody who's come from Louisiana who's made you the gumbo. How would you know what it tastes like? Personally, I've never had gumbo. Is that like a shrimp? That's a shrimp from like Muddy Waters, right? I don't know. Don't people have... No, those are... hermit. How can you have a hermit crab? How is a hermit crab a pet? I don't know. I know there are kids and some adults who like hermit crabs as pet. I don't get it. Yeah, that just... Look, you got people out there who are talking about they love the fact that prices are so low. And at the last segment I told you that's just a bunch of nonsense. It's stupidity, ignorance on display about how the economy actually works. And this is how we get class warfare, because it's really based on jealousy. And that jealousy really drives things like lotteries. Isn't it amazing how everybody hates the rich, but almost everybody wants to be rich? Now, I scratch my head on that because I'm thinking, why the hell would you want to become something that you absolutely hate? Think about that for a second. Now, I'm not accusing Bernie Sanders of being rich, because actually I believe his net worth is below. He's not. Bernie is almost the real deal. He's almost the real deal. He knows the real truth, but he doesn't tell his followers the real truth. But he does almost live the way he talks. He's been working in government for more than half his life, so he doesn't really know what it's like to have a real job. But as far as his claims on Washington and state capitol corruption and all the money that flows in, and how these people, these elected officials, a lot of them, especially the career ones, they get rich off of jobs that don't pay them nearly the amount that they end up being. Look at Obama. Now, don't get me wrong. Well, I'm not going to say it. I'll say it. Obama got rich fairly. I know some people are thinking, did Rod just say that? Well, let me explain. He wrote or had ghostwritten a couple of books that sold a lot. And that's where the bulk of his wealth came from. Now, evidently, he's also, he wasn't worth $1 million when he was elected president. I know that his wife had that $250,000, job at that hospital where she hardly even showed up. What was it, like 300? She was making like $300,000 a year. But that they didn't have, and I know they had that big house that they got a great, a really unrealistic great deal on in a Chicago suburb. But they weren't rich as far as, millionaire status rich. They got rich as he was running for office for his first term, and just after he got elected because of his books. I mean, that happens. In order for his books to sell that much, people had to go out and buy them. Now, whether or not you liked his books or agreed with what was said in his books or what have you, it doesn't really matter. If you believe his books were well written or poorly written, it doesn't matter. People bought them. And that's what padded his net worth. And then he was able to, evidently he's not an incompetent investor. And he's been able to, increase his net worth slightly 7 years in office. So I don't disparage them for that. But I do disparage them for talking about wealthy people and them getting the breaks and all that kind of stuff. But they're living the lifestyle of an ultra wealthy person. And this happens with Democrats. I mean, you got Nancy Pelosi that has her own plane, for crying out loud. Then she wanted the American people to pay for it. This woman's net worth and her husband, they're in the billions. Hundreds of millions to billions. I mean, the Valley Girl is not poor, but she's out there disparaging rich people. I mean, are you kidding me? Bernie Sanders is one of the few who isn't, by terms of what most people would define as rich, is not rich. What is Senator's, 180? That's what Bernie earns. He doesn't have secondary, at least he hasn't revealed that he has secondary and tertiary types of income coming in that makes him, earn $500,000 a year or something like that. Most of his income, if we've seen, he roughly earns, him and his wife roughly earn. That's not rich by any stretch of the imagination. It probably goes a long way in Vermont because, Vermont is not, the cost of living in Vermont is not extremely high, especially compared to places like if you just go to Boston, New York City, which, Vermont, striking distances of those two communities. $250,000 in Boston and New York City. But these people, they're out there bashing rich people when they're rich themselves. But they don't include themselves in all this bashing. They try to distance themselves. You got Al Gore running around talking about, it's kind of like Al Gore running around talking about global warming and, all this carbon and all this kind of stuff. When the guy is out there spewing more he's got a larger footprint than some American factories. Do you realize that? If you were to add up what Al Gore does, where he goes, he's got a larger carbon footprint that he's out there touting about and telling everybody else to reduce theirs. He's got a larger carbon footprint than some American factories. And that's pretty sad. Very hypocritical. But that's the way it works for them. But you people who are following Bernie Sanders, you don't know what you don't know, but you should know that you don't know something and want to go find out. I mean, it's just common sense, and I know common sense is not very common, but it's also just plain logical. Bernie Sanders is out there telling you he wants to break up big banks. Well, do you bank at a big bank? Why do you bank at that big bank? And don't tell me it's the only bank that you... Look, there are so many banks, and even a small town actually has more than one bank. So don't tell me you don't have a choice. And you can bank online now. You don't even have to go to a real bank, a physical brick and mortar bank now. You can just bank online. So he's out there saying that he wants to break up big banks. You bank at one of the banks that Bernie Sanders says is a big bank that needs to be broken up. How do you think that's going to affect you? Well, it's not going to affect you in a positive manner. Trust me. But yet you're supporting. Okay, what if you actually now understand that some of Bernie Sanders supporters work at banks? Now, if he is targeting your bank to be broken up, how is that going to affect your job? It's going to affect it. Either directly or indirectly, and it's going to affect your pay. But yet, and still, you haven't really found out the consequences of Bernie's actions should you actually get him elected. And this happens a lot. You had people down in Pennsylvania and in other coal-producing states that somehow, when he was out there touting, hey, you can start and build a coal energy plant. You can do that. We'll bankrupt you, but you can still do it. And he's out there saying that he wants to shut down the coal industry, and people in the coal industry voted for him. You're literally shooting yourself in the foot. And then when your mine or your coal-related industry in your town shuts down and it devastates your town, you're like, why is this happening? You got all these people that are shocked. Well, he told you what he wanted to do, but you believe this rhetoric that he was protecting the planet and he was targeting the rich people. And then what happened is that you, who are not rich, got affected the most. It happens time and time and time again. It always happens. Well, we got to stop saying to people, well, you don't know what you don't know. Well, that is true. But you should have the wherewithal, the logical sense to understand what you don't know. Is it logical to believe that you've had real Boston baked beans when you've never been to Boston? And you've never had somebody from Boston make you beans? And yet you think that jar or can in the store that says real authentic Boston baked beans made in, Ohio, that's where Bush's baked beans. And I'm not bashing on any particular company, but I really are. But to say that they're authentic. Oh, if you've never eaten authentic Boston baked beans, these beans are canned in Ohio. Those Parisians think that they're eating real. I think that's kind of stupid. Well, I wanted to know what a French taco tasted like, what a French taco is like. But the Parisians think they're getting real Mexican taco. Trust me, a French taco is not an authentic Mexican taco. Still good, but it's not authentic Mexican. I'm just saying, it's not authentic Southwest. No. But they don't know that. But you would think that they would at least stop to think, well, I wonder what a real taco tastes like. I do all the time. Think about stuff like that. Maybe because I've experienced some of this stuff, which is why I think about it. Like, I know what authentic Greek souvlaki and shish kebab taste like. Because I've lived in Athens, I've tasted the real deal. And I can tell you, coming here in the United States, even in a Greek restaurant here in the United States, and I have said this sometimes, when they deliver this thing that they call a souvlaki, I said, no, where's the real deal? I want the real souvlaki. And I proceed to explain what a real one is based on the Athenian style. And there was one person I said when he was at the State Fair, New York State Fair, said, I would like a real one. And he looked at me and he smiled and he goes, yeah, I've been there. So I want a real one. And went back, made one, and gave it to me. And
when our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Start training for a new career in as little as 18 days. National EMS Institute's innovative boot camp program will train you for a new career. Learn to respond to emergency situations and become a certified EMT in just 18 days. National EMS Institute guarantees 100% job placement. Visit www.nationaleMSinstitute.com today to learn more about our 18-day boot camp. Or call us at 1-800-497-6732. NationalEMSinstitute.com.
When you're ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Franz Black and his music on his website, friendsblack.com. F-R-A-N-Z black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
Welcome back. 603-835-3224 is the number to call, the call-in number, as it were. If you wish to join me here live, yours truly, L. Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio, as we talk about the stuff that nobody else is talking about, as I continue to be politically incorrect. I find it amazing that just being truthful is now being construed as being politically incorrect. And being hypocritical is how you are being politically correct and being caring and loving towards your fellow man. So I don't know how that works. Yesterday, I had a meeting with a gentleman, and for reasons that I must keep to myself, I really can't tell you who that was. But he has an important role here in the state of New Hampshire, in the Republican Party, actually. But they have to. The Republican parties, state and county and national, they have to try to maintain an air of neutrality when it comes to candidates that are vying for the same position within that particular district or state. So I don't want to put him on the hot seat. But we were talking about some of this stuff, and one of the things that came to light is that how we have so many on the left that are just hypocritical. We got onto the subject about some the colleges, the recent spat and hissy fits and temper tantrums of college students on some college campuses across the country. I'm not just talking Black Lives Matter, although we touched on Black Lives Matter, of which I do not support. Thugs running around, and I'm not saying thugs in the sense that other people call thugs, because you don't have to be black to be a thug. Which, by the way, I'm very curious as to why the lamestream media when they say the lamestream media now, the left, whenever they say the word thug, it's always about a black person. Now, those are people that are supposed to be anti-racist, right? Well, why are they using a racial term? Or why are they making a particular term racial? Because I do not, and I read a lot of stuff. I have to for this show, for this job. And I don't see them calling white criminals thugs. But I'm getting off point. I know that's probably politically incorrect to point that out and call them out too. But we were talking about the recent spat of protest on college campi across the country, and how there was an incident a few months ago in New Hampshire where you had mostly the ones that were doing this protesting didn't even go to this particular well-known college. They went through a library where all these students were behaving themselves, being quiet, being studious and judicious about their studies, trying to study so they could, at least attempt to get some of their money's worth out of their tuition. And these people just started going through shouting and yelling, Black Lives Matter and blah, 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 and this matters and that. And, they weren't black. They were, and they wanted, they were talking about beforehand college safe spaces. That some of these kids, we need a safe space to go to. We need a safe space where we can just, be ourselves and say what we want to say without all this outside influence and all the haters out there. And yet, the kids that were in the library doing what they're supposed to be doing in a library, you would think that the library would be a safe space, and it wasn't for them. They were being harassed and harangued by a bunch of Neanderthals walking through a college library, disrupting the whole building, while you have a bunch of people in there, college students, trying to study so they can make and get the most out of the expensive tuition that they're spending. And the college has the nerve to say, well, we don't condone what they were doing, but we really can't, do anything about it. Are you kidding me? So now the colleges across this country who are very, very liberal are creating these monsters that they now can't control. So nobody has a safe space. The college student who just wants to go there to get an education, he doesn't have a safe space. Where's his safe space? They can't even go to the freaking library. And they weren't just shouting. They were physically accosting some students and their belongings. They have video of it. You could probably check it out on YouTube. I think it was at Dartmouth College. Yeah, very highbrow school. It's not cheap to go to Dartmouth. But these poor, it doesn't matter if they're going to an expensive college or a cheap college. The point is that they're paying to be there. They're paying to get an education, and some students who actually pay to try to get an education are very serious about getting an education. And if you're serious about getting an education, what do? Yeah, you study. Can't do that if your library isn't a safe space. So only the left gets to determine, I guess, what space is safe and what space is not. Only the left gets to decide what lives matter. Black lives matter. Yeah. All lives matter. Racist. Really? Only the left gets to determine good rich and bad rich? Are you a good rich or a bad rich? This stuff is, if you are a liberal, I cannot understand for the life of me how the hell you live your life every day. I don't understand it. Because it makes absolutely no sense. You're out there touting that you want to be peaceful, you want everybody to have an equal shot, But yet you're out there condemning a portion of the population. You're out there bashing another portion of the population. And even those who do you no harm, you're out there accosting and harassing them. They don't have a safe space. And yet, you will run around, rich people, you'll run around and hate on corporations. Yeah, that corporation is too big, and that corporation makes too much money, and that bank needs to be broken up, and this, and then you go out and you spend your money on a company called Apple that does exactly what you say you hate. But you love Apple. Apple is the epitome of what the left hates about big business. They manufacture their stuff that everybody loves overseas in a Chinese factory, Chinese sweatshops even by liberal standards. They charge an arm and a leg for their product that is made cheaply offshore. The left hates that. Oh, you charge too much. You're raping the American public, man, with your high prices. You know, you're not paying a living wage, dude. You think Apple is paying a living wage to their Chinese factory workers? How much does an Apple employee make in an Apple store? Why don't you go in there and ask them? Are they making $50,000 a year? Well, that would be $40,000. That would be a living wage, right? You think, are they making $40,000 working in an Apple store? No, they're not. But you will flood Apple every time Apple decides to come out with an updated or new product. And then you will pay a premium because it's Apple on top of it. Didn't they release Apple did release one of their iPhones during the Occupy Wall Street movement. And there was a lull in the Occupy Wall Street movement one day or a couple of days because all the Occupy Wall Street kids who didn't have jobs were out there trying to buy the new latest Apple iPhone. How do you guys live with yourself on a daily basis? I don't get it. And in Apple, you know, they leave all of this money offshore. But you hate when corporations leave their money offshore and don't bring it back so it can be taxed up to 50 or 60%. Yet you'll still go and buy more Apple products so Apple can keep all that profit offshore. And, you know, it was just recently, there was a couple of weeks ago, I brought you a story about how Apple was being chastised for not being diversified enough in their senior management levels. That there was a particular Apple stockholder who wanted to have a proxy or something instituted at the annual meeting, forcing that would, if they get enough stockholders behind it, it would force Apple to have to institute racial quotas for senior management. Wait. I thought Apple was a diversified, they're a liberal company. Their CEO is openly gay. I thought that they were a diversified, very friendly, nice, left-leaning, liberalistic type of company. Are you telling me they're not? Because you have to force them to have a certain number of minorities in their senior management, which they don't have? How do you liberals live with yourselves? I just don't understand the hypocrisy. There's no way in hell I could possibly live with such hypocrisy within myself on a daily. Something would have to change. I don't get how you can live that. A liberal, I don't know. You guys are going to have to explain this to me, liberal. You're going to have to explain it to me because I don't see how that's possible. And because you are so hypocritical, nobody on the center or the right can take you seriously. You are not going to win any converts. I mean, most people don't grow up and suddenly realize that they're a liberal. Most people grow up and suddenly realize that they're conservative notions and leanings because those are not hypocritical things. I always find it interesting that you run around and you see a bunch of 40, 50, 60-year-old hippies. They're always liberal. Listen, there There's a program. I'm binging on Hulu right now. And it's not because it's all that good. Frankly, this is, for me, because I don't watch a lot of TV and I don't follow a lot of programs. This is a show whole season. I don't have Mad Men to look forward to. I never did get into Walking Dead, so I don't watch The Walking Dead. Ooh, I must be like one of a hand. I don't get the whole zombie thing. I guess I always wonder, wait a minute. All right, they got zombies. Zombies tend to be in urban areas. Zombies are also very slow. But they can't get away from them? Now, if they were zombies like in Brad Pitt's World War Z that were ultra strong and ultra fast, I can see where you might have a problem. They were like the zombies in World War Z, where the zombies actually look like they could think and plan, because that's how they got over. Well, in Israel, they got over the wall. Had to take some thinking. That's a problem. To me, the zombies, the slow-moving zombies, Neanderthal, dumb, mindless robot zombies in Walking Dead would not be a problem. Sorry, that's why I don't buy the whole premise of the show. That's why I don't want. Just me, I know, but that's why I don't like it. That's why I don't. I wouldn't say don't like it. That's why I don't watch it. I've seen a few episodes, can't get into it because that's what I constantly think. I think, wait a minute, you're going to stand there while the zombies surround you? Why would you do that? They can't run. You can run. So I'm watching this one program, and what is it? Happy Endings. I'm watching on Hulu. I think it's a real network TV show. And they run into stuff like this. I guess you could say it's kind of like a very bad version of Seinfeld. Or maybe Friends, I guess. I don't know. It's just a small group of friends, like 5 or 6 of them. And of course they got to have the really isn't all that what you as he likes dudes and great guys go to a college campus. Put him on a college, and you would say that he was straight before any of those straight kids were. I'm just saying. And they have the resident couple because everybody's single except for, and of course they're a mixed race couple. I'm the first couple of episodes I'm watching this, and woman is pretty, and black guy, he's a good-looking guy, but I'm like, damn, he looks familiar. And I'm like, okay, I know those facial expressions. Familiar. And it took me a couple episodes to actually decide, why don't I pay attention to the credits? Because I never really pay attention to credits. The guy's name happens to be Damon Wayans Jr. And the reason why he looks so familiar is he's a dead ringer for his father, Damon Wayans. I mean, you want to talk about father, and Damon Wayans actually guest starred on an episode. They were together. And Damon, dad, is about an inch or two taller than son, Junior, but the resemblance between, I'm like, that's why he looks so familiar. But by the way, the title is misleading. Happy Endings. Yeah, it's quirky, it's cute, it fills the show hole for me when I have time to watch TV. So, but they had the last episode that I watched. They were fighting, or the fight against basically a Starbucks. It wasn't a Starbucks, but that's basically what it was. Coming into the neighborhood. Oh my goodness! First of all, if this coffee shop, this powerhouse. It's going to be gentrified, and we're not going to be able to afford the rent in here. Rent will go through the roof and blah, and all these people will come back into the city. So in order, you want to keep the neighborhood poor so you can easily rent. You want to keep people unemployed so people can easily afford the rent. You don't want to, improve the neighborhood, bring jobs in the neighborhood because you're afraid that your rent might go up. But he did change his tune after he met the franchise owner, which was also another local. That changes everything again. So if that changes everything, why isn't on TV, which is written by a bunch of liberals anyway out in Hollywood, why wouldn't the very fact that Tim Cook, an openly gay man who's a CEO of Apple, change anything for Apple? Well, I guess it does. Because Apple is one of the very few corporations that can get away with doing everything the liberals say they hate about big corporate America. Except for the fact that they're not, diversified enough. I guess Apple's senior management team is so white that you've got a white stockholder who wants to force quotas on them. Look, I've got a couple. I'm not a huge Apple fan, and people who listen to the show regularly know that. I am not an Apple fan. And it's not because the stuff doesn't work. The Apple products, I have an iPad mini, an iPod. I bought none of that. Neither one of them. They were gifts. I would not spend my money on that stuff. I would not pay the premium for that. But, I don't have an iPhone. I refuse to get an iPhone. My last 3 cell phones, and this is purely not because I wanted it to be, but my last three cell phones happen to be Samsung. No, I take that back. One before, and the current one I have are Samsung. The one that I had before the Samsung was a BlackBerry. And I love the good phone signal. I get better signal with that thing than I do with my current Samsung. I actually didn't like the phone. BlackBerry Pearl. I ended up hating the thing. I really did. I did. The Pearl kept falling out, and I ended up when I first got it. Thought I loved it. About 6 months into it, realized I hate it. But you know what? I couldn't change it because I'm in this stupid 2-year contract. And then Sprint kept sending me, well, you know what? You can get a new phone. You replace this one. But the fine print said, well, geez, if I do that, then I'm going to back basically forever. No. So I resisted. Just like I'm resisting now. Constantly sending me stuff about, hey, get a new phone. Why? I have actually, since I'm out of contract with Sprint, and I got to tell you, I get a little bit better customer service with them now that I don't have a contract than when I was in contract. Doing contracts anymore. Earn my business every month. Got people out there who are just loving. Donald Trump out there saying something about it. Try to look for it during the break. But this whole notion that you liberals are so hypocritical is so apparent. And the reason, look at Hillary Clinton. I mean, can we just stop for a second and look at wonderful Hillary? But why do you on the left like Hillary? She's qualified. How is it possible that Hillary Clinton is qualified? Because you accused George W. Bush of doing exactly the same thing that Hillary Clinton has been proven to have done. And yet you wanted to see Bush and Cheney on a perp walk. You wanted them thrown in jail and possibly hung for treason. And yet you got Hillary Clinton, who doubled down on what G.W. Bush is accused of doing, has been proven so far to have done what George Bush has been accused of doing. And yet you liberals are saying, well, that doesn't really matter. She's more than qualified to be the next president. And yet you don't see why people are looking at you, scratching their head and saying, what kind of freaking hypocrite are you? And really, George Bush lied. People died. That was the whole premise behind the Iraq War. Well, hey, I guess Hillary Clinton did it a little, just a tad bit different. Hillary Clinton didn't lie and then people died. Oh, no. She did a little bit differently. See, with Hillary Clinton, the way it went is people died and then she lied.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom133.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom133.com. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom133.com.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000? Or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company, General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of, you guessed it, New Hampshire. Come on, say it with me. The state where the motto is live free or die, not big government or bust. That is correct. Welcome, one and all, you wonderful liberty lovers all across the globe and you fantastical ecclesiastites. Yes, welcome to the show. It is hour number 3 here already on the Rod Eccles Show, the fastest 3 hours on internet talk radio. I almost said hour number 2. This is how fast this thing moves. I mean, even I can't believe how fast 2 hours has flown by. Because it's intriguing, the stuff that I'm bringing you. I find it intriguing. I mean, you may find it boring, sorry, but I find it intriguing. Find it wonderful. Well, it's not actually wonderful, but I like talking about stuff that the other guys don't talk a lot about. And if you've got something on your mind, then just take advantage of the call-in number, which is 603-835-3224. Again, that's 603-835-3224. I found it, and of course, it is in my paper pile already, as, you know, should be. Simply because, you know, well, if I bring it up, then that means it should be important. And if I think it should be important, it's probably going to be in my paper pile, meaning that I intend to bring it up. I know I don't get to everything that's on my. For those of you that actually follow the paper pile, I got mail a few, and you know, something to the effect. He did use the word dude. I don't know why. Why do people write the word? I mean, I know they say dude, but why would you write the word? Anyway, he said something to the effect, dude, you got too much stuff on there. I can't read it all. That's the point. Well, read faster. And he's referring to the paper pile page over on. I just thought it was. I don't know how old or young the person was, but I'm assuming that he's actually taking the time to write the word dude, that he's probably kind of strange being a millennial and being a conservative. They are out there. But you wouldn't think that there are quite a few of them, actually. There's a lot of them. But according to the lamestream media, you wouldn't think that there are actually anything but your typical lazy, good-for-nothing liberal millennials. Now, as a group, you know, as a demographic, yeah, the millennials skew towards the left, but that's been true for a very long time, that the younger, you know, the college age set has typically leaned liberal, thus proving that fact. But as they get older, you know, they change and they get out in the real world. Obviously, you know, reality hits in the face, and thus proving that old saying, you know, if by the time you're in college you're not a liberal, you have no heart. But if by the time you're 30 you are not a brain. That pretty much holds true, because look at all the wonderful hippieites out there trying to relive their glory college days even when they're 55 years old. They're not very bright. Just saying. At least I don't think. Not very bright. Any event, Trump says, and this is from CNBC. By the way, can I just take... Speaking of CNBC, the RNC, Republican National... Fill in the C word if you want. You know where I was going with that. I'm not going to say it on the air, but you know where I was going with this. They've decided, not that NBC has done such a bang-up job anyway, but they've decided to take the next debate out of NBC's hands and put it in the hands of CNN. Reince Priebus, to put it in the words of a millennial colloquialism, dude, don't you know that CNN doesn't have any viewers? Why the hell would you take the conservative Republican debate off of one liberal network and put it on an even more liberal network? Not only that, why would you take it off of a network that has some semblance of viewership and put it on a network that has no viewers? Are you trying to make the next Republican debate the equivalent of the Democratic Snorefest debate? Next election cycle, this whole notion that candidates can only, you know what? Donald Trump and Ted Cruz could probably change this. They could. I dare them now to say, hey, Ted and Donald, you went and had your own debate somewhere else. You can't be on the debate stage for the next Republican debate. How would it look if your front runners did not appear on your debate stage? Nobody would take your debate seriously, RNC. Obviously, you're not taking them seriously. And this is absolutely nonsense. This is ridiculous. Or as to put it in more, millennial colloquial terms, do they say redonkulous? Yeah, they say redonk. It's redonkulous. Redonk. I actually kind of like that word. Donkulous. You're trying to make new. Is that in the Webster's dictionary yet? Redonkulous? Should be. I guess you can't. Well, you can't. You can Google it. Limbaugh's Riolenda. Google redonkulous. I don't know how to spell it. I didn't invent the word, so how am I supposed to know how to spell it? But this is from CNBC.com. Donald Trump. This goes to all you millennials and you liberals out there listening, and I know you are listening because I do pay attention to my Twitter feed. So you can't say that nobody listens. Because I know people are listening because I pay attention to the Twitter feed. Your wonderful Apple company. Trump says Apple should build their quote-unquote damn things in the USA. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump warned that he would force Apple, the U.S. most profitable company, to manufacture all of his products in the U.S. if he is elected president. In other words, I don't know how you force a company to do anything. I mean, frankly, Donald, that's kind of un-American to force him to do anything. Bad remark from Donald Trump. But I understand his frustration. Here you've got superior workers in this country that can manufacture those products a lot better than those Chinese workers do. Not saying that they're not capable of doing better, they just don't. American workers will do better. That I have no doubt. But technology blog Gizmodo reports that during a speech at the Liberty University in Virginia yesterday, the frontrunner for the GOP ticket said, "We're going to get Apple to build their damn computers and things in this country instead of in other countries." Apple currently manufactures its Mac Pro, only its Mac Pro computers in the U.S., while most of its other products, including the iPhone, the very popular iPhone, especially among the hippie set, iPhone, are made in China. You know, those wonderful Chinese sweatshops that liberals always say that American manufacturers utilize and take advantage of while they're out there buying their Apple gear. Now, the company's chief executive, and I'm inserting this part, openly gay, company's chief executive, Tim Cook, who is openly gay, I think maybe he's a husband, or I don't know. But in any case, he recently told CBS's 60 Minutes program that the U.S. tax code is awful for America. So here is a gay guy. He's a white gay guy, but he's still a gay guy. Liberals love the gay. They do. They say they love the gay. I don't know how they love the gay when they support Muslims and Islam that want to kill the gay, but they say they love the gay. And you got this gay who's the head of one of the world's most profitable and one of the world's most valuable American corporations, who has tons of cash sitting offshore, who manufactures most of its goods that it sells to you and me in China. And they bring it on shore. And then he tells us the reason why they manufacture offshore and keep all that offshore money offshore and profits offshore is because the American tax code is awful for America and an American business. And yet you still have liberal Democratic candidates like Hillary and Bernie and Martin O'Malley who are claiming that American corporations aren't paying their fair share and need to pay more in taxes. When a gay guy of a liberal corporation that is a liberal consumer fan, a favorite, you're out there telling them that their company needs to be taxed more. While this gay guy from this liberal favorite company is telling you that the taxes in this country are terrible. Now, how do you balance that, liberal? How do you, on the one hand, say, oh, yeah, well, corporate America, I can't stand when corporate America doesn't pay any taxes. They pay so little. Their rate is so low, and they keep all their money offshore, and they manufacture everything offshore. And then you run around and snap everything up that this most profitable, most valuable company on the planet does exactly what you hate. And then the gay CEO comes to you and tells you the reason why they're doing all that stuff is because the taxes that your favored Politico like Sanders and Clinton, the taxes that they want to impose are too onerous and terrible. And yet you want to support them to raise taxes so Apple doesn't bring its money onshore and doesn't bring its manufacturing onshore, so the gay guy who's running the company can still stand up there and say, well, taxes are terrible. That's why we don't manufacture anything here. That's why we don't bring the money onshore. That's why we don't invest in America, because the damn taxes are too high. Then you run around with your hippiedom and you go and you say, well, yeah, I did something. I got my safe space and, I shout out somebody so he couldn't speak and feel all wonderful and fuzzy because you think that you are caring. Yet you're a hypocritical idiot. And where I was going with the program, Happy Endings, I didn't get to the point, I realize that I was trying to make in the first place, is that in one of the episodes there was something that they called hipsters. I didn't, modern millennial version of the beatnik. And the one thing about hipsters is that you're not supposed to really be too overly enthusiastic or energetic, and you're not supposed to really try too hard, because what's the point? What's the point in trying too hard? Well, I mean, what's the point? That's a hipster's view. Why do you got to run around and try to get so much money? Why do you got to work so hard to have so much money? Why do you got to do this? Why do you got to own that? Hey, why do you bother? Why is it so important? This is a hipster mindset. You just throw on whatever you want to throw on, clothing, look however you want to look. But the real point is that they're out there telling you that you shouldn't try so hard, that the hipster lifestyle is just so free-flowing. When the real fact is that they work very hard at not working hard. And then all that inexpensive stuff that they claim is inexpensive, hell, it's very expensive. Not to mention, if they're buying it used, somebody else already had to do all that hard work for them to buy it and then decide that they didn't want it and give it to those wonderful, donation centers that then turn around and resell it for a much lower price, but still for a lot. In some cases. So, look, even those who claim that, you shouldn't try very hard or work very hard at not working very hard. To look, it's kind of like an emo, phase back in the, I don't know. It just seemed to be a lot of work to be so miserable. Because you would think that emo meant being emotionless. No, they were supposedly overly emotional. They felt everything. About everything. They weren't depressed. They were just sad about everything. And that was reflected in their basically, emo was a stylized. Goths were more energetic and more flamboyant, but emos were they were more subdued. Bring on depression. I mean, it was a phase. It's still kind of a small phase, but it's not what it used to be. Thank goodness. We don't need. That's part of the reason why so many. I think emoism is a direct result of over medicating our kids. By the way, Ritalin and other drugs that supposedly they're kids, for crying out. This whole notion that everybody basically, if you're to listen to the commercials or the public service spots about autism, everybody's got autism now. I have listened to these commercials go from 1 in 350 kids are born with autism to 1 in 80. What the hell is going on? Either we're changing the definition of autism to encompass more people, or there really is an epidemic. If there's really an epidemic, why the hell is there an epidemic? And don't tell me it's the pharmaceutical companies, because you got a bunch of liberal, mind-numb psychologists, psychiatrists, psychoanalysts who are out there subscribing drug after drug after drug to anybody and everybody that they come across who's under the age of 18. Because they all have, autism or ADD or ADHD or whatever that stupid thing is. They decide to change the acronym every, 4 years. And this is from a bunch of people who have what? PhDs. This whole liberal mindset is so full of hypocrisy. Oh, let's hate on the pharmaceutical companies for making all these drugs and then charging us an arm and a leg. And then you run out and you try to get everybody hooked on those same pharmaceutical drugs. How do you do that? Pharmacy, kind of makes you, the hypocrisy kind of makes you want to rip your hair out. And I got a full head of hair, so I have some to spare, I suppose. My age, I got very little gray hair. I'm not. You look at some old high school pictures of me, my hair is just still on my. I was a freshman in high school. It has not moved. I'm very blessed. I know that. I know that. I know that there are. Look, both of my grandfathers and my father, they all died with a full head of hair and very little gray. They all lived to be in their 70s. I am very blessed that I have. A lot of guys spend a lot of money on trying to restore their hairlines one way or another, either by surgery, oral or topical, or both types of. I'm lucky. I know. I get it. A lot of, I guess it comes with being, part African and part Native American. Not a lot of baldness there. Those ethnic back. I mean, there are bald black men. I know. I am. My great grandfather on my mother's side. In other words, my maternal great grandfather. For those of you in Rush Limbaugh's Real Linda, that means it would be my mother's father. He was bald. But I've seen a picture of my mother's father's father. Wasn't bald. One great-grandfather. Mother's dad, full head of hair. Mother's dad's dad, full head of hair. My dad's dad, full head of hair. I've never seen pictures of my father. Although I do remember meeting one of my father's anyway. By the way, has anybody out there done the I know there's two. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the other company. I know that there are two major companies out there that trying to help you figure out your family tree. I'm not going to mention any names. I can't remember the other company's name. Unfairly mention one when I can't mention. That they're out there offering DNA test. You know, it's not, one of them is advertising, you know, go back in your family history like 1,000 years or something. Wants to force these companies that do this type of stuff to give them the DNA. Interested is all hell to figure out my ancestry. Being able to have that keeps me from doing it.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Start training for a new career in as little as 18 days. National EMS Institute's innovative boot camp program will train you for a new career. Learn to respond to emergency situations and become a certified EMT in just 18 days. National EMS Institute guarantees 100% job placement. Visit www.nationaleMSinstitute.com today to learn more about our 18-day boot camp. Or call us at 1-800-497-6732. NationalEMSinstitute.com.
When you're ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Franz Black and his music on his website, friendsblack.com. F-R-A-N-Z black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
Your level host coming to you in the final segment of the fastest 3 hours in Internet Talk Radio right here on the Rod Eccles Show. I got a call in right now. Let's see if we can bring them on. 918, you're live on the Rod Eccles Show. Go. Hello, 918. Are you there? Well, I guess they're not there. In any case, Trump is out there stumping on the stump, and he's out there talking about the wonders of government being able to force a company to that's basically what he's saying. Wonders of government. Now, maybe what he's actually saying is that he's going to force Apple to manufacture their products here on shore because going to make sure that the taxes are more favorable for an American company to hire American workers and manufacture their products onshore than offshore. And, you know, there are a lot of companies. Well, the problem is that we're losing companies as well, that they're moving offshore. They're moving offshore. Bad. Their jobs, and it's to be able to bring those manufacturing jobs back to the United States onshore would be a boon. The overall economy of this country, and to put the United States back on its solid, hardcore, gigantic economic juggernaut foundation and footing again would be a good thing for the entire world, by the way. You know, when the economic engine of the United States became superpower status right after World War II, it was good for the whole world. It took some countries time. It took them a while to catch up, but eventually it gave us the defeat of communism in the Soviet Union, and you could arguably say that gave us, you know, the economic juggernaut that is to be called China. Because without the United States, there'd still be a Soviet Union, and there would still be a backwater China. Yes, yeah, just saying. This whole this is getting silly. This is getting sillier than silly. This whole Oscar flap. See, I don't watch the Oscars. I have not watched the Oscars for decades now. I mean, I don't understand the so-called glitz and glamour of watching a bunch of self-righteous, overly pretentious, self-indulgent people pat themselves on the back and give themselves awards. I mean, really, you're going to determine, and more often than not, especially when it comes to just the movies themselves, you get these movies that are nominated. Oh, there is such a great movie. Nobody sees them. They're boring. Oh, it's so well written. It's, what was one? Remains of the. I still have not seen Remains of the Day. I mean, this stuff is just boring. Nobody goes to the theater. They make I think it cost like $6 million or something to make, and it maybe made $20 million. I mean, give me a break. And so now this year, we've got another hypocritical issue happening out in Hollywood. Now, Hollywood is supposed to be this ultra liberal, ultra all-inclusive, superior. They're superior in their beliefs and in their attitudes. But now we go to the Oscars, which is Hollywood. Hollywood is the Oscars, and Oscars is Hollywood because the Academy of the Arts and Sciences. I don't know where you think acting is a science and an art, but okay. So you got Hollywood, which is the Oscars, and Oscars, which is Hollywood, are being blasted by members of Hollywood and the Academy. Why? Because liberal Hollywood, who keeps telling us that we need diversification, is not diversified. And you've got some of these people who are self-important and self-indulgent and are heroes in their own minds, that are going to try to make a flap and boycott the Oscars because the Oscars it's another Oscars. It's called the white Oscars now, because there aren't any non-white people in the major categories that were nominated, and there aren't any non-white movies in the major categories that were nominated. So this is like the same. I guess the same thing happened last year. Everybody was upset that there weren't any blacks or Latinos nominated. There aren't any. It's all white, man. And now it happened again. I guess it's even more white this year than it was last year. I don't know. I don't pay attention to that kind of crap. But it's now reached the point where it's like an open civil war within Hollywood about the Oscars being too white. Now you've got the Reverend Jackson, who is out there trying to pressure Chris Rock, who's black, to not host the Oscars because it's too white. You've got Jada Pinkett, who's out there saying she's going to avoid it, but you've got another Fresh Prince of Bel-Air star who's calling out Jada Pinkett, saying that she's a two-faced idiot. This is insanity. This is absolutely insanity over there. And we're supposed to be paying attention to these people? Why? Why should we be paying attention to Hollywood at all about anything? Because they're made up of a bunch of hypocritical... oh, wait a minute now. Let's try this one on for size. It's awful and evil that a CEO of an American corporation that employs maybe thousands of people makes $1, $2, $3, even $5 million a year. Oh, that's terrible. Look at that income divide, man. I mean, the amount of money that CEO makes versus the janitor that works and cleans up the factory floor for that company is just terrible. It's huge. And yet, you go out to Hollywood and you get these idiots that think that they're so talented and they're really not all that talented, making $15 or $20 or $30 million a movie, while the key grapher, if he gets to work for an entire year, maybe makes $35,000. And that's okay. That's okay. Oh, let's not make sure that the people who actually produce the movie get to make a little bit more money. So that the overindulgent, over self-important, pompous ass who gets nominated for an Oscar that happens to be not non-white. Let's get all the non-whites to say, "Oh, this is terrible, man. This is how much money is Jada Pinkett Smith worth? Are you kidding me? Does she work for white producers? Yeah. And now she's going to be upset because there's no black people that are not. You know what? I know that there's this huge thing that there was a snub for the Martin Luther King biopic. Again, you got to ask. I didn't see it, so Selma. I heard that it was beautifully acted, and the cinematography was wonderful, and all that kind of stuff. I didn't see the movie, so I can't comment on it. But you got a lot of people wondering, well, why the hell did they snub Selma? Why did they snub the film and the leading character who played MLK? What? Well, are they supposed to nominate him simply because he played MLK? Is that the whole point? I mean, are we going to be that? Regardless of how good he was in the movie? I don't know. It's much ado about nothing. By the way, there's a version of that film that starred Denzel Washington. There's a film adaptation that starred Denzel Washington, who happens to be black. Now, from what I understand, I believe in the Shakespearean tradition of that story, if you will. There was no mention of the ethnicity of the main character, but take liberty with it. Ed. I mean, here, I guess you actually have to nominate, people of color in order to make some people happy. Because Fantastic Four, the latest Fantastic Four, bombed big time. I mean, they took a white superhero and made him black, Johnny Storm. And then they because Sue is supposed to be Johnny's sister, their sister and brother. I guess they corrected that issue by saying, well, I think they said Sue was adopted. So a black couple adopted a white girl and then had a black son, older than Johnny. And they wonder why the movie bombed. No, I didn't see that one either. But you got them all talking about how Selma was snubbed and Straight Outta Compton was snubbed. The Straight Outta Compton, I think that's the Ice-T biopic too. Where, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't Ice-T actually play himself? In that, don't they all play themselves? Is that the whole? Well, the ones that are still alive. Isn't that the whole premise of the movie? Is they all still play themselves? I didn't watch it. Wasn't really all that interested in going to see it. For a number of reasons, which I'm not. The hypocrisy. Do you understand? Have you paid attention enough today to understand the theme of today's program? Hypocrisy of the left. And I don't normally point out, if I have a theme for a particular program, that this was not planned, by the way. Not planned to have a theme for today's program, but it came about naturally. And I don't point out when there is a general theme to an entire program. People usually figure that out for themselves, but because you guys are smart, my listeners are smart. But I wanted those who are not smart enough to figure it out for themselves. That's what today's theme was. And the people that aren't smart enough tend to be liberals who don't realize that they themselves are being hypocritical. I want them to take a personal, internal look at themselves and see where they are. I want some of these liberals to be, because I know you people out there listening. Like I said, I follow the Twitter feed. And I see some of the responses that I'm getting from my tweets and from this program, and I know that you're listening. I know, well, liberals don't listen. Well, really, then how do you know what I'm talking about? Kind of like the old Fox News thing. Oh, that's all you do is watch Fox News. You got to stop watching Fox News. Well, I don't watch Fox News, but you must. Well, why do you say that? Because you know what Fox News is saying, because you think I'm saying it. Well, I don't watch Fox News. Liar. Because if you don't watch it, then you're being an idiot because you have no basis for your opinion. I didn't watch Straight Outta Compton. I have no opinion on what's in the movie of Straight Outta Compton because I didn't see it. I can only superficially comment on it. Yeah, I wasn't interested in seeing it. I think that they're playing themselves. I'm not interested in a movie that pretty much, because I know the story, the basic story behind Ice-T's rap group. Because I've even heard some of their music back in the day. I'm not about anybody who's glorifying that kind of violence against anybody, let alone cops. And that's what they did. And I know that they say, well, that's what we were feeling back then. It was our story. It's what you got. I get that. I'm not interested in reliving it. And I know that that's what the story's about, the generalized story. I don't know exactly what was in the movie, what was in and what was left out, because I didn't see it. So I can't make comments based on the content of the movie. I don't know if it should have been nominated or not. I don't particularly care. I don't really care what gets nominated and who gets nominated. I think most of them are a bunch of self-indulgent, self-important, pompous asses out there that pick one night a year to make themselves even more important in their own little minds. And they think it's such a big deal. Like the rest of the country is supposed to bow down to these members of the royal court. I don't know who's supposed to be the king and queen, but they act like they're members of the royal court. Oh, who's the king and queen of Hollywood right now? I don't know. Is it Barack and Michelle? Was it Bill? Is it Bill? I don't know. Who is it? Why do we have so many supposed royalty, so many members of the court when there's no king and queen? The king and queen are missing. I don't know who they are. I wish somebody could tell me who the missing king and queen are of Hollywood. Maybe we can get to the bottom of this. That would be a lot better and a lot easier if we could get to the bottom of it. Really, I just saying. But I think it's just enigmatic. Hollywood is enigmatic. It just. Hollywood gives a perfect example of the problem with leftist thinking. Well, that's not thinking. Hollywood is a microcosm, a very visible microcosm of what liberalism in this country and indeed around the world really is like. It's really a bunch of elitists espousing a system of belief that they themselves do not firmly believe in. And yet they do realize that by getting you, the masses, to believe in this type of a system that they realize that it foments the ability for them to stay in the positions that they are in. Because otherwise, if you were to come to your senses, start thinking logically, you would dethrone them from their perches on high. If people who supported Hillary Clinton actually thought about all the hypocrisy that they have to go through in order to support her, if they came to a logical conclusion, she would now be in jail. If people who support Bernie Sanders were actually to think about the hypocrisy that Bernie and the rest of them live within and decided to jump out of that hypocrisy of a suit, then Bernie Sanders would no longer get any support whatsoever, and he'd be forced to go hide back up in Vermont. If people stop supporting the hypocrisy of Hollywood because they came to the realization that all these people up there, most of them are self-centered, atypical, overpaid, pompous asses, then most of them would be out of work for the rest of their lives. Because nobody would go see their movies. And look, when it comes to Hollywood, I take conservatives to task too on this one. I cannot remember the last time I saw a Tom Cruise movie. I will not support that nut job. And yet I've heard all kinds of so-called conservatives blast Tom Cruise for a number of different reasons, and then all of a sudden, hey, did you see the latest, Tom Cruise movie? No, I didn't. Oh, man, it was good. So, got Tom Cruise. Yeah, big deal. But you just told me a few weeks ago you hated Tom Cruise. Why would you give him $15 of your money? We're enabling these things. Do you understand? We, the American people, enable this kind of hypocrisy, stupidity, and arrogance. We enable it in multiple kinds of ways. We allow leftists to get away with their hypocrisy by ignoring it. We allow these leftists to get away and espouse their stupidity on and off the screen by going to their movies. I can't. I don't think Tom Cruise is that great of an actor anyway, but I just can't support the nut job. And I'm finding that those that I want to see and I'm willing to spend my money on, the number of actors and actors, that number is shrinking and shrinking. Because I cannot, with a good conscience, without being a hypocrite myself, knowingly go to a particular movie or support a particular so-called artist, be they musical, acting, what have you, when I know that they're an out there leftist, idiot, nut job hypocrite. Why would I support them so they can continue to be that way? Instead of forcing them to take a profile of themselves and an audit of themselves to figure out where they need to make some changes. If you keep enabling somebody, they're never going to figure out that they need to make a change. And they're going to think, wrongly so, that you support everything that they do. And right now, you got all those liberals out in Hollywood because you keep going to their movies. You keep buying their CDs or their DVDs or what have you. So they think that you are behind everything that they're saying and doing and putting out. And we know that's not true, but they don't get it because they see their bank accounts being fattened by who? You. So understand, if there is going to be any kind of significant change in this country, which we can bring about, it has to come from us. It cannot be that from the top down. Change will not come positive.